Hey guys, and welcome to another Warships video and first look at update 0.9.6 German carriers. There's a lot of information and things that came out with 0.9.6, but I really want to focus on the directives and the early access and how to get the carriers themselves. We're going to be looking at everything to do with that, and that's really what this video is going to be about, because that is what I enjoy doing in the game. We're going to be taking a look and to see how they intertwine and how they work with or against the other event that they've got going on right now, which is the dockyard for the Grafspree and the Odin. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so we've got another set of login rewards again. Always good to see. It's always nice to get some items as a result. As for the rewards themselves, they're not bad. I still think that 50,000 credits is a little bit low, but it was the same as last time, so at least they're consistent. The black, white and red seems to give a fair amount of XP and free XP per battle, which is nice to get on your first time. And then again, as pretty standard, some doubloons, 24 hours of warships, and then some more containers. Now, I haven't seen what the containers hold. I haven't seen what you get for the containers, but I'm hoping and praying to God that they are much better sort of laid out and scaled than what they were in the last early access event for the Russian cruisers. If I sit and get nothing but 5s and 10s the entire time when the goals for each of the different cruisers is so high, I might actually pull what little hair I've got out, but that's to go in to another time. Overall, it's pretty spaced out. It's not a huge amount that they're giving us, but they're giving us a few more of the containers, and since they're only giving us one container at a time as opposed to giving us 3 or 4 containers at a time, it does leave me feeling a little bit more hopeful that they might have got the balance right this time. So we are currently sat in the German carriers. There are 8 overall missions to do for this, which is actually, if you look at the dockyard for the Grafspree and the Odin, 2 more sections, which makes sense because there's 1 more ship. So that seems fair. They look fairly interesting. If you scroll down, spot 12 torpedoes, that's pretty easy. Get 200 main battery hits. Overall, that's not hard at all. 1.5 million credits, 10 destroyed ribbons, 8,500 base XP. Or, I like the fact they're adding these ores in, 450,000 HP of damage to ships. So, I mean, overall, that'll be pretty samey. Complete any condition in the mission, so you got to 12 torpedo hits ribbons, or in one battle get 5 torpedo hits ribbons. That isn't actually going to be that difficult if you use a carrier, because it's not limited to a carrier. Obviously, if you go for the 5 torpedo hits ribbons with a Z35 or a Parsifal, I see how that could be difficult, but considering this is meant to be more of an elite challenge, or one that's a bit more difficult, not actually that hard. This one could be quite difficult, but I have done it before, so even mid to low tiers are able to do this. Overall, not bad. I mean, you get two containers from missions and then 3 for completing it, so you're looking at 5 containers. Now this again aligns with what I said in the introduction, where they're giving us less containers, so that makes me hopeful that the amount of credits you get in a container is more. However, until I actually do one of these missions, I won't be able to tell you. Then you got Directive 2, which again gives you another 3, and looks like you get another 2. So it looks like you're getting 5 containers per time. This one you actually get 6. So as you go down, you are actually getting more. And then Directive 4, get 1, 2, 3, and you get another 6. So it's 5, 5, 6, and 6. When you get down to these are for the permanent camo and for tokens themselves. This is really cool. This is a nice way of, if you can get through all this, you actually get some more tokens at a time. The fact that you're only getting 15 does leave me a little bit concerned, but again, the missions seem fairly easy to do. You only need to be in a tier 4 to 10 German ship, and it's very easy to acquire a tier 4 ship of any nation. And when you finish it, you unlock it, you get the permanent camo, and you get another 60 tokens. Again, with this one, you get the Iron Cross for the Wurzer, 60 tokens and 15 a time. Same again here, but this is for the August von Passwell. And then for the final one, it's just tokens. So it seems fairly evenly split out. They do get gradually harder as you go down, so it starts at tier 4, then it's tier 6, then it's tier 8, and then it's tier 8 again. So it's not too bad. Not overly difficult. Obviously, the further on you go means that you need that tier 8, but hopefully with the scaling you'll be able to have at least got 1 or 2 of the premium ships by this point. And it seems like they are fairly in time, or in tune if you will, with the current dockyard. They don't seem to be taking you away too much. The current dockyard, there is a cruiser for German ships, so if you do this one after you get to the camo ones down here, then you'll actually be doing 2 at the same time. And for everything else, it's the destroyers which will be taking you away, but early stages doesn't seem to be a limit on what ships you can do anyway. So it doesn't really seem to be forcing you to choose one or the other early in stages. It depends how far you get down. I'm obviously quite behind on these by now. I haven't been playing World of Warships as much. So the further down here you get, you're going to be doing them both at the same time. So I don't really see a huge issue with this. It's nice to see the German line being filled out like this, and it's nice to get the early access as always. I will say that the rewards in the German carrier for doing each of the missions seem a lot nicer than the shipbuilding. You get 100,000 for doing the credits as opposed to just 10,000, which is really nice to see, because it kind of made you feel a bit for doing all the work to only get 10,000 credits to then have to try and get your phases to then actually progress the German dockyard. So overall with the directives, I'm quite happy. They're perfectly attainable and do not feel like too much of a grind. You can probably do a couple of these within a couple of hours of just chilling out and playing as you normally would. Okay, so we're in the armory. We have got the German carriers part 1. First part of the event dedicated to German carriers begins. Complete directives and chains of combat missions that will reward you with German carriers containers that can drop early access ships, as well as German tokens and new permanent camouflages. So we've got some new camouflages going on, new bits and pieces. So you can purchase the carrier containers for doubloons. You can buy 1 for 1,250, 6 for 7,125, 12 for 13,800, and 22 for 24,750. Again, I get the feeling that it is very much luck of the draw. It will be a case of camos and other things that you can get for that. But it's nice to have the option to pay for it if you really want to. And this will be on top of the directive, so you can buy some containers, get yourself maybe, I'm assuming, some tokens first, and go from there, which is kind of cool. It's better than the weird sort of random nature that they did it in before, where you would take a raffle and see what you got. I kind of like this better. It's straight up, you know what you're getting. I think they're a little bit on the pricey side, but outside of that, I don't really see an issue with it. Like, it's nice to have the option. This is, again, these are very pricey bundles, but it gives you some information. So you can buy the bundle, 7,500 doubloons, chain of combat missions, black, red and white camo, dragon signal, Overrose signal, wyvern signal. Completing the chain combat missions for German battleships will bring up to 600 tokens. So there you go. So it gives you a challenge to do, as well as some tokens and some camouflages and signals as well. I have no issue with that. That gives you something to do in game, and it gives you some extra reward as well. And they're different things. So you've got your battleships, your cruisers, and your destroyers. 600 tokens, not too bad. Now with these, this is the red cross that you can get, which is the camouflages. The iron cross, sorry, not the red cross. 600 tokens gets you the 100% battle, flexibility range, cluster ship's battle service, dispersion of shells fired by enemies attacking your ship, throws per battle plus 20, and that is 600 tokens that you can do. And that's for the Grosser Kurfürst. Again, I'm apologising for my rather awful pronunciation. So that's not too bad. So you got your different camouflages for your different ships as permanent. So as opposed to it costing you a fair few doubloons, you can save up your tokens and get them there. You can spend 20 tokens here on credits. Now what I will notice is that this is a much more reduced amount of credits that you get, but it also seems like a much more reduced amount of cost. I think the last one, it was 450,000 credits for 40 or 50 tokens, whereas this time it's only 20 tokens, which is fair. Outside of that, I'm actually a little bit confused looking at this, because I'm wondering how you actually get the carrier. That's a tier 10. So is it early access to get the carriers, or is it just to get the camouflages for the carriers? I'm a little bit confused right now, guys. As you can tell, I'm recording this as doing it. This is a first look. I'm not sure I'm overly impressed, because I don't really want to sit and grind out just for the camouflage. And that's what it seems to be doing. Before with the early access, what you'd see is you would see a ship that you could buy for the tokens, and the previous early access would be a case of you do it in order. So it would be 300, then 400, then 500, then 600 or whatever tokens that you would need to get access to the ship. This, however, seems to be early access to do the missions to get the permanent camouflage, but in order to get the ships you have to buy the container, the premium container, for doubloons. I don't know, I feel like this is a complete gut wrencher, honestly. I don't actually own any of these ships, so I'm kind of thinking, why do I want to sit and grind out for something that's going to come later on when it's meant to be an early access? I always like the fact that you could grind out, have a very small chance of getting at least one of the ships if you ground hard enough, and keep it as a premium, to then, when it goes normal, turn normal obviously, when it gets released. But it was nice to get the ships early. It was a nice thing, and I feel like it's a bit of a kick in the stomach to see that some people can get it early, possibly, maybe, because it's all RNG with the crates for doubloons, and all I can get is some permanent camouflage for ships I don't own. That's kind of made me not really want to do this event. Honestly, it's kind of removed all excitement that I sort of had. But this is why I record these videos as I'm doing them, because it allows you to see my reaction firsthand. Or at least hear my reaction firsthand. So there you are. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of this event. Let me know in the comments down below whether you agree with the way that WarGaming has decided to do it this time around. I like the fact that they're always changing it up and always keeping it different. But I'm not going to lie, I don't really see it as an early access event if you don't get access to the ships. And to only allow people that are willing to spend a huge amount of doubloons to possibly get the chance of getting the ship as a good way to go. So yeah. Let me know what you think, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all next time. Ciao, ciao.